Hi everyone! As you can see from the title, this is going to piss off quite a bit of people. If you follow me on social media like Twitter or Instagram, you already know that I have resigned from the Will Control fandom. I'm no longer a stan, and I have taken down all of the videos I made about him except for 2 different ones. One of them that's already blocked because of copyright. Don't worry, I'm getting that one back up. But yeah, I have already resigned, and I did mention that I was going to make an explanation video about this, so here I am. I wanted to start off and say that I know that this is going to get me hate. I know that, the stans are going to come after me, whatever. I've accepted my fate at this point. I wanted to also say that while Will is innocent from the scandals, there are problems I have with him that I'm going to discuss, and I do discuss Lindsay a bit in this video because it did play a part in me unstanding altogether. And also, even though this is my opinion, please do not just go over to his Instagram, his Twitter, or whatever and write death threats on my behalf. I do not condone hate, and please do not rush over there. My intention isn't to kind of rip apart at him or whatever. This is literally my opinion, why I unstand, and the issues I have with him. Please do not go over and send death threats or whatever. If I see clown emojis, we're gonna have an issue. Alright, so let's just get into the video.
Over the course of last year, we've witnessed some notable events in which trust.
If you do not know, there was a controversy with Will Control back in 2017. While Will was touring with Motionless White, he was accused by 2 girls of rape and sexual assault by the names of Georgia and Victoria, if I'm correct. He was easily able to prove them wrong on Facebook, but he ended up deleting the Facebook post, not sure why. After that, he kind of quit touring and dropped the face of the earth a bit. The rumors and claims started to die down. It wasn't until about June 2018 that 3 days before Revelations Deluxe was going to come out that about 14 different women made a Tumblr blog called Stop the Sex Cult or Talk About the Sex Cult, whatever you want to call it, and they accused Will of rape, sexual assault, financial abuse, gaslighting, a bunch of different things. And it did definitely destroy his career. He had to shut down his record label. He ended up retiring from the music field, and it did not seem good for him, but he did make his comeback in 2018. So that's kind of what happened. Like I said, he is completely innocent. I've proved him innocent 4 different times on this channel, so obviously I do still stand by that. But there are a couple other things that went down during this controversy that definitely raises some questions. One thing I did definitely have questions with. During about June 2018, I think about 2 days after Will had resigned, his wife Lindsay posted that she was going to divorce Will for mass cheating and everything, which makes sense. That's fair enough. While the divorce was, I think, being finalized, Lindsay would make a bunch of Instagram posts, facts about narcissism or sociopaths or whatever, and I think it's kind of immature. I think it's just so immature because, what he did was wrong, yes. If I were her, I would definitely divorce him too. But going around saying oh, my husband's a narcissist, my husband's a sociopath, he's so awful, how do people still support him? That's not sociopathic or narcissistic. A narcissist is someone who only cares about themselves, who is obsessed with themselves in the way that they don't care about other people and enjoy other people's pain. I know this because I have a narcissistic family member, so I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak on my own experiences, and I will tell you that is not nearly narcissistic, because at the end of the day, Will was trying to ask his girls for money or whatever to support his family, especially his son. He said this in the video about the truth about Kate and why she lied, that she would always give him gifts, and he said that he didn't want those. He ended up asking her for money so that he could make it for something useful. He mentioned the electrical bill or just clothes for Phineas, which makes sense. I wouldn't go around saying, oh, he's narcissistic. Clearly he does care. I don't understand the whole deal about that. Also, there was post that came around. Lindsay was posting quite a bit at this point. She did mention that she was going to make a restraining order on him. What she said in there was that I think she was trying to work things out with Will and, try to fix their marriage, for their kid and whatever. I had a conversation rather about Will possibly giving up his side chicks, which he had 6. And I think she told him, if he wanted to save the marriage, he would have to give up his side chicks, which makes sense. But apparently Will had the biggest issue with this. It was just
if you really loved me, you would let me sleep with these girls. I don't understand. Shut the F up. You're my queen and I only care about you. But I'm also gonna have these girls because I love them too.
Really? That behavior right there is a bit narcissistic. Cheating like that before, but ended up having, the goal to, focus on his family isn't narcissistic in itself, but, not giving up your side chicks, William, is a bit narcissistic. It shows that you do kind of care about yourself here. If you really love somebody, if you really thought Lindsay was your queen, you really loved this woman, and you wanted to go to the ends of the earth with her, you wanted to die for her or whatever, you would do anything, right? Why is it so hard for you to, give up your 6 side girls because you want your marriage to work? What's the issue? Apparently you had a big issue and was just like, oh, I'm not going to give them up. I could understand then, why she, at the end of the day, was just like, you know what, this is hopeless. Because it really was. Also, during this time, Lindsay was kind of, struggling with money, which is understandable after, a partner leaves the house. She did mention that he was the main provider in the house, which I can believe. She did mention that she wanted to start a GoFundMe so that she could properly support herself and her son until she could get a new job. She would post a poll on Instagram. I wish I had the screenshots for these, but I do not. She posted a poll, was just like, hey, should I start a GoFundMe? And everyone said yes, but immediately after, she took it down, was just like, I'm not doing a GoFundMe because I'm not going to go around asking for money because I am not my husband, as she liked to put it. And then the GoFundMe was still put up anyway. And it is actually still up to this day, which means even though she doesn't need the money anymore, you could still donate at this point and she could still profit over it, which is just, it's scummy in itself. But apparently, I guess her friend set it up and it was forwarded like, oh, Willa never did anything. He's not providing anymore. And she needs the money to, fix the roof, and she needs the money to fix the walls, fix the house, and support everyone else in the family. Which is just her and her son, really. And her friend even rented out a room in her in Lindsay's place to help her out. For a while, she wasn't providing services, she was just collecting the money. But she said something in the description of the GoFundMe, which really bothered me, that her and Lindsay need a minimum of $4,500 a month to survive, which, excuse me.
Well, I am confusion.
$4,500 a month is so much money for literally 2 people when one of them is a child. I can't fathom to understand it. I don't know what you're spending your money on if you need $4,500, maybe an expensive car, maybe a bigger house than you need. I have a ton of medical needs, right? I spend a lot of my money on little gifts and anime figures because that's the kind of person I am. My family, they kind of struggle a bit with healthcare and whatever, and it's our expenses are so much less, and there's 4 of us in this house. All of that is still way less than $4,500. It's stupid.
Understand. I don't understand, bitch. Don't understand. I don't understand, bitch.
And the way it was phrased, it also made it seem like Will never did anything in the house, which we all know he did. He completely remodeled the basement, and he had his friend help him with something that collapsed on the roof, and they ended up tearing the roof apart so that it could be separated into 2 little places. So he did do things around the house. He wasn't just cheating and stayed at home, and was just like, oh, I need food or whatever, and just isolated himself, unlike the narcissistic family member I have. He did do things. He wasn't just stagnant. Also, and for a while, this is so hypocritical, but I have to make this point in. For a while, she never put any services on there. She was just taking the money, which is the very thing she said she didn't want to do, which, yikes. She didn't want to take money from people because she's not William. And yet, that's exactly what she was doing until Will called her out a little bit from his post in September saying it's important to purge out the snakes from your life. We don't know if it's specifically talking about Lindsay, so I don't want to make assumptions or tell you, oh, that's exactly who he was talking about, because we really don't know. It wasn't until the day after he made that post that she added services for yoga and, de-stressing or whatever, which, you only do that after you're called out? I'm very, very, concerned. It doesn't make sense to me in the slightest. But, okay. Have at it, I guess. Towards, I think, the beginning, Lindsay was very adamant that Will was innocent and people were just claiming victory over destroying his life, which, fair enough, right? But it wasn't until, I think somewhere in July, she did a complete 180. She flipped her Uno reverse card and said she was going to start supporting the girls because apparently as a rape survivor, she knows the pain of not being believed, which, I get that, but not many people are going to like the fact that I'm saying this, but you should be able to tell the difference between, genuine people who are raped, sexually assaulted, and went through so much trauma, and people who are just third-wave feminists. I'm gonna get so much hate for saying that, but it's just the truth, man. Lindsay easily became like part of the problem. She was easily teamed up with the girls, even though the girls were not very nice to her in the beginning either. That's pretty much it for controversy. I'm sorry if this is so disorganized, I'm realizing that now. But let's move on to parenting.
From fake hate crimes to violence. Whatever side you're on.
We all know that Will has one son. His name is Phineas. He's about, I think, 10 now. And during that time, you know, things were kind of rough. Clearly, you know, your family's breaking apart. You know, you don't know what to do. The thing is, during this all, Phineas had no idea what was going on. I remember there was a post about this. I wish I had the screenshots for this, but I do not. Someone asked Lindsay, like, hey, does Phineas know anything that's going on? And this girl had to say that Phineas had no idea what was going on, that the only way he was ever going to know was if he looked it up for himself when he got older, but he didn't know that his family was breaking apart. He didn't know what was going on. In which, that's a big red flag right there. It's actually been proven in research that not telling your kids about divorce and everything is actually more harmful. It's been proven to disrupt the trust between the child and the parent. So, not sure why she kind of went through that path. And I think Phineas was the main victim of everything. You know, he had to see his family like break apart, and he didn't know the reason why because his mom was not going to tell him. Maybe not tell him that, oh, people are accusing him of rape and sexual assault, you know. Maybe not say that. But it doesn't hurt to say mommy and daddy don't love each other, but mommy and daddy still love you, because that's the case. Why couldn't you say that to your kid? I don't understand. But anyway, before I go on a rant about that, this is another thing I have a problem with. While they were married, you know, Will would be touring and whatever, which, you know, that's his career, that's his job, that's whatever. But sometimes Lindsay or Will would bring Phineas to the shows. This I have quite a bit of a problem with because you know Will's music isn't appropriate for anyone under the age of 18, right? I mean, granted, I got into his music when I was 15 years old, but I still didn't even like get the hints that like, oh, this is about sex, this is about BDSM, this is about knife play or whatever, because I'm still the innocent child of Jesus that I am. But, you know, a kid obviously isn't gonna get that. You're actually advocating that to your kid who's only so young. You think this is a good song about whatever, but really it's about, you know, Will wanting to bang somebody until they bleed. I don't understand what kind of parenting y'all have, but that ain't it, chief. Like, it's just so inappropriate. Like, imagine, like, Phineas is in school, right? Imagine if it's say it's the first day of school, and the teacher's like, what does your family do for a job? And Phineas is like, oh, my mom's a yoga teacher. My dad is a musician. And what if she says like, oh, let's hear some of his music? And she actually looks it up. That woman is going to have a heart attack. I don't get this. It's just so inappropriate. Why would you expose your son to it, of all people? No. Yeah, I did mention this earlier, but Will was trying to support, like, you know, the family through his side chicks, whatever. I understand that your music isn't doing that good, but there's plenty of other ways to, you know, support your family. This is not one of them. This is just a way that's going to break your family apart. I mean, he did mention this in the video that he was trying to help them out anyway, but he lost them anyway, so it didn't matter. Which, I mean, fair enough, but, like, there's so many other ways you can help your family. You could, you know, state it like, hey, it's hard for me to provide, but I'm going to try to do everything I can, and, you know, you could set up a GoFundMe, you could, you know, try to help out other musicians on tour or whatever, instead of yourself, you know. You could do a lot of other different things to make more money, not through, you know, Kate over here, you know, just giving you so much candy, and then you tell her give you money, and that's what she does. You know, there's so many other ways to go about this. But okay. Have at it, I guess. The marriage is over, and like I said, Phineas is easily the victim of all this. Will was just trying to support the family through his side chicks. And speaking of his side chicks, we're gonna get into polyamory and mass cheating. I think it's really public by now that Will is in a polyamorous relationship with 3 girls named Nikki, Eris, and Lucy. Obviously, they were kind of side chicks from a while back, but I think because Will chose to get engaged and everything to them only a year after he got divorced, I'm going to say, Will, I know you just want to move on, but I think that's a little too soon. But yeah, he's in a polyamorous relationship, and Two of them are porn stars, and one of them is kind of like a lewd BDSM latex model. And this is the woman he has chosen to marry, which inevitably are going to become Phineas's stepmothers. First off, do you think they're good role models for this kid? You already exposed him to your music. Don't you think that's enough harm already? And clearly, they've mentioned Phineas before. You know, like Nikki was just like, oh, he's got a kid in this place, whatever. But it doesn't seem like they care. Like, I don't think they care at all for this kid. Like, how do you think this is going to be acceptable is my main question here. I'm not saying that sex workers can't be good parents, because obviously they can. I'm not shaming sex work in any way, shape, or form, but I'm saying this isn't necessarily something you want to advocate for, you know, a 10-year-old. We saw this with Gabriella on Dr. Phil. This isn't a good idea, Will.
She was 11 years old at the time.
I explained to my daughter that I was a professional dominatrix.
Over the last couple of years, my daughter has spiraled out of control with the approval of her own mother. She's been drinking alcohol. She and Gabrielle were smoking pot together. My daughter has also been sexually active.
Yeah, hello, 911?
I don't think you want to repeat history here, but I guess he is. When's that Dr. Phil episode gonna be? I'll watch it. So in the polyamory square, Nikki and Eris always get involved in drama. Like, they always are, like, backing up Will if, like, he has a problem with somebody, which I'll get into that, but, you know, if he has a problem with somebody, they're always, like, backing him up, you know? They're always, like, they tend to harass other people, kind of. I've only seen them kind of, like, you know, play fun at the girls who accused him, which, I mean, those girls do deserve to get shamed. So I am not against that, but, you know, always, like, backing him up, you know, even though, like, the arguments are just so stupid, like, but you feel the need to insert yourself in. I don't get it. I mean, I do respect Lucy for not getting herself involved in that. Good for her. But this is the last part of this section, but I wanted to say also that, you know, Will has been sober from drugs for 20 years, right? He was a drug addict, alcoholic when he was a teenager. He got sober when he was 18. I want to say 17, 18 years old. So, you know, he's been at this for quite a while. But obviously, addiction doesn't stop. Addiction can carry on to one thing or another. For Will, this is his addiction to drugs and alcohol went to sex. And I think these girls are only feeding his addiction. Like, if you are addicted to sex, and you've admitted it, right? If you're addicted to sex, just get help, get better. It's not seen as a weakness to get help. There's nothing wrong with it. But you clearly don't want help. You clearly like this lifestyle, and you clearly like these girls who are just feeding your addiction. He's just clearly addicted to sex, and yet he's engaged to 2 porn stars, 1 BDSM latex model, and, you know, a thing you would have to, I think, ask yourself if you're get involved in these people is just like, A, are they going to help me quit? B, you know, are they suitable stepmothers? In which clearly, no. And, you know, questions more like that. Clearly to those, it would be a no. I think he should get help. I think that this is why he was cheating, was because he was addicted to sex. Not only because he was in denial about being polyamorous, but also because he was addicted and just needed more and more and more, you know? And that was the reason that, like, he has the music the way he is. It's just kind of like a vent, I guess, to rant about how he's addicted to sex. Nothing good is going to come out of this, William. I have to tell you that. Nothing good is going to come out of this. I'm not saying end your relationship, damn it, but, like, get help. You clearly need help with your sex addiction. But it seems to all of us that you don't want help, and you just want to make things worse. So like I said, I'll be waiting for that Dr. Phil episode. But alright, let's just get on to the next section, which is called Scummy Things. So I'm gonna go through in the order of scumminess, starting from the least scummiest thing he's done to the utmost scumbag that he could have been. So starting off with one thing, if you've noticed, he is a very big Second Amendment rights advocate, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it in itself, but say I've noticed this, there's sometimes will be like that one person who, like, disagrees with him just a little bit. Immediately he has a problem with it and will just blast anyone who disagrees with him, and at the end of the day he has to have the last word and just
Take care. You don't agree with me? Take care.
like It doesn't make sense to me. Why are you just focused on blasting people, especially if it's just such a little thing? And of course, Nikki and Aries have to butt themselves in and agree with you, and kind of double down on this guy who was just up for a little bit of conversation. And if anybody has a little bit of a problem, they're automatically the bad guy. But immediately they're the bad guy. And it seems like Will can't take any criticism, or kind of be like, well, I could kind of agree with you there. He does this on a regular basis, and he's just coming across as kind of like a sore loser in a way that has nothing better to do with his time than to pick apart other people who disagree with him. He knows that will inevitably, get him more traction, more circulation on social media, because otherwise he's not very popular. And he could agree with that. He's not popular at all. And what got him popular was drama. So why not cause more? My gosh, dude. The next scummy thing he's done was back in 2018, about October, when he did his comeback. There was this girl who said some things. I can't agree with the things she said. It's wrong. Will did not handle this well, and instead decided,
I can't, properly say something back. I can't say, oh, that's not your business to say any remarks about my family. It's rude. I can't say anything proper, so I'm just going to fat shame her.
Which, come on, dude. He got, a bunch of, support for fat shaming this girl. And I'm like, yeah, what she said was awful. Can you not acknowledge that what he did was equally as scummy? You have no right to fat shame somebody just because he can't make a proper statement back. It's not fair. The next scummy thing he's done is when he was making his videos about the girls going individually, one by one. In the one about Victoria, something in there bothered me and quite a bit of other people. What he said was, I'm never being nice to mentally ill people again. He started kind of shaming everybody who had mental illness because that's the people who accused him. But the ironic thing is, he himself is mentally ill. He admitted it in his book that he has an anxiety disorder. How hypocritical is that? And so was your wife. Your wife had a type of bipolar disorder. What a way of just irony. It's funny in a way because it's just so stupid. I don't get it. I don't get it. Next scummy thing. Okay, if you didn't know, one of his old merch girls was named Jaxis. She it made it seem like she was retired back in August 2017, I want to say, but really she was fired. And she leaked a bunch of texts between him and a couple other people who worked for him and him himself. But one of the things at the beginning was if you went to Warped Tour, you would know that he did samples for his Control Records project, and it had really cool artwork on it. I thought it was cool. It turns out the art that was on the samples was actually stolen art from a movie that I think had Ryan Gosling in it. I believe it was called Drive. And Jaxis and a couple other girls were just like, dude, you really had to go and steal this art? And his only defense was just like, well, I'm not selling it. And I thought the art was cool, so screw it. Which, I mean, that's true, but she also brought up a fair point that but you're selling this on iTunes. That, my dude, you can't do that. First off, if you want to promote your company properly, your record label properly, you need to be a bit more creative and not just steal other people's art. Instead he just has to steal artwork from a movie poster, and then he's just like, oh, well, I'm not selling it, but you're selling it on iTunes. Dude, that's a crime. If, say, Ryan Gosling or someone who worked for whoever owns the movie, whatever, or made the poster, saw that their art was being used in your iTunes samples, they could sue and win, dude. You're screwed. Like I said, this is a crime. You're stealing. This isn't okay. It's just scummy and it makes you look lazy.
Now, I'm all for people being inspired by other brands, but when you literally steal the exact concept and photo shoot, how do you sleep at night?
Now, this is the last, but I think the most scummiest thing he's ever done. If you didn't know, Victoria and him used to DM each other, and he did say these were real, and then Victoria also pointed out that these were real as well. And she posted hers, I think, in March when the videos were starting to go around anyway. And some of these DMs in here, basically to just kind of sum it up, was that Victoria was having a bit of problems with this boy who was harassing her. And he was flirting with her and she said no, but apparently he did not understand no. And she didn't know what to do, so she asked him for help. And he was like, you have to be upfront. You have to say, just tell him to screw off, you know? There's no reason to get, like, so aggravated or whatever. Just, like, you know, just tell him, please, I don't want to talk to you, you know? But she was like, he doesn't understand. No, he's calling me all this nasty stuff. And she's like, I don't know how to say it because he's autistic. And this dude, I can't. I still have a hard time just, like, believing that he said this crap. He was like, punch him in the face, make him bleed, you know. You're doing the future a favor. It's not wrong to do this after all those insults. You're doing the future a favor by punching him and making it bleed and make it seem like it's an accident too. Like, William, I remember seeing this and my heart just sank to my stomach, dude. Just seeing how he was talking about them. Talking about this kid who most likely did not know better, probably heard it from a couple other people, these words, and just thought it meant something different, you know? What you could do is just, instead of, like, you know, saying punch him out, you could just be like, hey, this is the words that you're saying, this is what it means. And I guarantee you, he's not going to say that crap again. He will leave her alone. It doesn't hurt. Just go over to him and be like, hey, this is what you're saying. You can't say the N-word. You're being racist. What racism means is this, you know? You can't make fun of my eyes. That's racist too, you know? But no, you should just punch him out because the only way to fix things is violence. Like I said, like these DMs with about an autistic kid and how Will suggested that she punch him out, you know, drop the R word about him too. Like, this is so disgusting. Will, if you're seeing this, once again, how do you think in your right mind that this is acceptable behavior? This is completely disgusting, distasteful, unacceptable, inexcusable. This is gross. And I am not sure if anybody else knows about this, about these DMs. And at that point, I just wanted to throw everything I had from him away. I wanted nothing to do with him. But I kept the lie going, you know, because of the people who supported me. I wanted to be, you know, the best that I could be. And I put my own feelings away. And, you know, now I can finally get rid of that. And that concludes this segment of why I don't support Will in Control. I can't support people who do these things. I can't support people who do any of the stuff that Will has done. Therefore, I have to unstan. And it feels good to finally do it. I'm finally being honest, you know, the true magical girl that I wanted to be, you know. I can't support people like this anymore. Therefore, I'm unstanding and resigning from this entire fandom. I did not really take down the videos. Most of them are unlisted. So I will put links in the description if any of you are still fans and want to still watch those videos. You still can. Those are not coming down. There's only one video that's that's blocked right now. It's Will in Control is Actually Innocent. I'm working to get that back up for you guys because I still really stand by it and it's just blocked from copyright. Quick tip to anyone who does YouTube videos, don't use K-pop. It's gonna get blocked or right. It's a pain in the ass to kind of get around it. I don't know how people make reaction videos and don't give up, you know, because it will just get blocked. And hopefully, Will, you can change, and I hope you can become a better person, you know, for the people who love and support you, for your son, for yourself. I hope you can change, because I think you really need to. I do want to say that I do appreciate all the memories I've made throughout this fandom, and I've been able to make friends with this fandom and everything. So I'm not saying I'm ungrateful. I am grateful for everything that has happened throughout this fandom, but there are things that need to be done, and this cannot go on anymore. I mentioned this in my last video, but I am selling all of my merchandise for Will in Control. If anybody is interested, just DM me via Twitter or Instagram. And I have no issue, you know, working deals out. I prefer shipping within the United States, but I can ship internationally if you would like. And I have no problem combining shipping, and a lot of things I'm selling dirt cheap, so you kind of want to grab it. So yeah, that's kind of the whole thing for why I don't support Will in Control. Sorry if this has gone on forever. That's gonna be everything. I love y'all so much, and I can't wait. And I can't wait to see what's gonna come on from here. Yeah, thank you for everything. Bye.